Good morning. Good morning. Jeffrey Paul with day 16. What a precious day on our 40-day journey. We're going through the process of each day learning a little bit more on how God speaks to us, how to direct our paths, how to make our decisions. I'm Jeffrey Paul, and I just hope that you've been with us all 16 days and you'll follow suit the days to come, because there's so much to learn when really trying to seek God, to really find out who He is and the intimacy and relationship that we've been talking about that He wants more than we do. Well, I'm just hoping that you've been doing your exercises from your morning each day, that I send you your devotional through the email. And for those of you that may not have signed up for that, right here in the comments, you can click and you'll receive a daily email just before the broadcast. And we would then go along with that. You can actually click all the scriptures. We've made it interactive on that devotional. And at the end of all this, we'll also have a whole set of it for you, so that you have the whole 40 days in one composite. And on our Facebook channel, you can go to all of the daily messages that you may have missed, or you were sleeping in, or whatever you were doing. They're there on our Facebook channel, which is also right here, that you can click on and subscribe with us. But today we're talking about a little bit from yesterday, the relationship of truly knowing that you have a friend, you have a powerful, powerful friend. You know, in the Italian heritage, and I'm going to sort of use this as a metaphor, okay, is that, you know, the Italians used to talk about the mafia. And if you had friends with the mafia, nobody messed around with you. They didn't bother you, because if they knew you were a friend of the Godfather, then for sure they were going to leave you alone, no matter what turf you were on, no matter what you were doing, whether you were a policeman, you were a government official, you were a street guy. It didn't make a difference. And when you think about the confidence that people that had that relationship with the Godfather walked around with, it was almost an arrogance type of confidence, because they knew nothing could come against them. They knew nothing could take advantage of them. They knew nothing could really bother them, because they knew they had the power of the Godfather. Well, we have the real Godfather. We have the real Godfather. We have the one that stands up before us and behind us, above us and beside us and within us, that will never leave us or forsake us. That's the meditation I'm going to really challenge us today to maintain for one solid day. For one solid day, I just want to challenge you to go through the process of the scriptures that I've given you here, that the Romans talks about in your devotional. He says, what then should we respond to this? If God is for us, who can be against us? Question mark. He didn't even spare his only begotten son. That's how much he loved us, John 3:16. But it's one thing to read those words on a page or in the scriptures. It's a whole different thing to putting them into practice in your life, in your mind, in your heart, in your belief system, in the words you speak, in what you listen to or block out from listening to. It is really a different game. We have so many intelligent people, and we have so many people that even know spiritually things like scriptures and memorization, and they can do, sermons or whatever it might be. But the truth of it is, it's our life application. It's our life application of this knowledge. And if you go to 2 Peter chapter 1, it says, through the knowledge of this and knowing God and knowing Christ and knowing the relation of the Spirit, you have divine power to be absolutely able to do everything and anything you could ask or imagine. 2 Peter chapter 1, starting in verse 2. It then talks about putting it to practice of your character, of your personality, of your belief system, of your integrity, all those things wrapped up in about 10 verses in 2 Peter chapter 1. It's so important that we put this into practice. So how do we do that? A life application exercise that I give you every single day in this devotional. And this one is this, that no matter what your situation is, and right now, with what we're going through, is we've talked about every day, probably too much, which is the coronavirus and the quarantine and the reopening and not reopening. It's kind of getting a little wearing, isn't it? It sure is. I don't care what level of spirituality, mental, financial, or whatever it might be. You don't have that solid foundation that everything is okay or going to be okay. There's kind of a real major question mark. And some of you might feel that fog in your head that you just can't see clear enough past this day or the next day. I want you to just focus on today. I want you to focus on today. And I want you to continue to speak, think, write. God is for me. Nothing can be against me. Nothing can win. It may come against me, but it will be Him that defends me, that strengthens me, that lifts me up when I fall down, raises me up. And I want you to write this down. It's not in the notes from today's, but it's what I found in my journal this morning, way early this morning. 2 Samuel, talk about the twos today, chapter 22. 2 Samuel 22, chapter 22, starting in verse 1 all the way through. David is giving a absolute rejoicing that even though his enemies came against him and he was blown away like he could not handle this, they were overwhelming, they were stronger than him, they were more powerful than him, he was really ready to fall and let it all go. And God came down and lifted him up and defeated his enemies. And the power that comes from that scripture is amazing. If you really want to meditate in the middle of this day to say, what did David say? The warrior, the man after God's own heart. What did David say when he was having a struggling day, a difficult day, a day that looked like it was all over? And how God was faithful, provided all things at all times. Now, did God come and grab the enemy and throw them into the sea? No. He gave David and his men strength, first within them, through their belief and confidence that God will never leave them or forsake them, and God is for them, then who can be against them? No matter how big and no matter how strong, whether you're a giant or whether you're, an army, God is for me. Nothing can be against me. I'm more than a conqueror. The scripture says in Romans 8, which is from your devotional today. So I want to really challenge you today. I want to challenge you every day, but I really want to challenge you today. I want to challenge you today to remind yourself, to implement into your life, into your words, into your thinking, God is for me. God is working all things together for the good for me and all He's given me. God is with me. He'll never leave me or forsake me. God is my victory. God is the one who loves me so much and wants so much for intimacy with me. There's nothing He wouldn't do, including giving His own begotten Son, Jesus. So understanding that is one thing. Putting it to practice, putting into your thoughts, putting into your words, putting into your life is where it makes the difference. That's the game changer. You have a beautiful day today. And remind yourself, God is for you. Because He's for you, nothing can defeat you as long as you hold on to the trust and belief of that word promised by Him. I'll never leave you or forsake you. I'm your strength. I'm your power. Be strong and courageous. I'll never leave you or forsake you. So I don't think there's much more needed to be said. Take it, run with it, have a beautiful, victorious day, and know He loves you. And I'll see you tomorrow, but be sure that you share this. Share this. It shows both the people out there that you care to give them hope, and it shows me that all this is being poured into you, and you're doing what the scripture says, passing it on. Have a beautiful and wonderful day. See you tomorrow.